Welcome to Smart Part Solutions. My name is Jason, and in today's troubleshooting video, we will be discussing how to correctly and safely diagnose if your flow sensor assembly has failed. This troubleshooting video will work for all of the units listed on the right side of your screen. So go ahead and pause to verify that your models fall in line within the listed brands and specific models. Another quick call out, as you see in the photos on the left hand side highlighted, there are two different style of flow sensors. Each one will be for a specific unit. Yours may have one and not the other. I just wanted to show you so you have a reference of the style. These are both diagnosed the same exact way. And most importantly, if you're not experienced with electronics or uncomfortable turning off breakers, it's crucial to hire qualified professionals for safety purposes. This video is for informational purposes only, and attempting any electrical work without proper knowledge may result in harm or damage. Always prioritize safety first and consult experts when in doubt.
All right, so let's begin here with our troubleshooting guide for our flow sensor assembly for your tankless water heater. Now, the first thing we want to do is remove our front cover. As you can see, ours is already removed. There's two Phillip head screws at the top of your unit and two at the base or the bottom of your unit. Once you've removed those and secured them, you want to remove your knob, and then you can go ahead and take off that front cover. You want to go ahead and replace that knob back because we're going to be using that here shortly for step number one in activating the control board. Now, before we move along, you might be looking at the unit saying, hey, this thing doesn't have any power, and hey, there's no water to this unit. This is done purposely for the troubleshooting guide that we're walking through here to make sure that we teach you all how to safely and correctly diagnose the problem with your unit. Now, with that being said, let's go into step number one, and that's to activate the control board. The way you do this is by spinning the knob or pressing it, and when you spin it, the LED display should illuminate, and what it's going to do is show you the desired temperature. It'll shortly shut off on its own, and that's absolutely normal. That's indicating to us that, hey, we know that our control board is functioning to some degree. Now, if you spin your knob and it's not turning on, then either you have a control board problem or you may not have proper power, and you may want to check your breakers to make sure they're on. Now, if you do spin the knob and it does function properly, next step is to check our flow sensor to see if it's functioning. And how do we do that? Very simple and straightforward. We need to turn on hot water. So what we typically recommend is two faucets wide open for hot water. As the water flows through the unit, it should activate the impeller inside to spin, and this wire and the board inside of here will send a signal to the control board to turn on. The way we know that this flow sensor is functioning properly is when the water is flowing, it should indicate to us the desired temperature, and it should stay on the entire time water is flowing through the unit. Now, if when you turn on hot water, it does not activate your control board, that is a classic sign that you have a problem with your flow sensor assembly. So if you are having this issue and your flow sensor is not activating that control board, let's go ahead and move on to steps 3 and 4. If your LED display is turning on and staying on while the water is flowing, you may have a different issue going on. Now, moving on to step number 3, here's where we'll be opening up the internal components of the flow sensor assembly, and we're going to be inspecting them to make sure that everything is intact and nothing is broken or damaged and the impeller is spinning freely. Now, before we do that, we want to make sure we shut off our breaker to cut any power supply to the unit. Then we want to shut off the water supply and flush the unit. We flush the unit by opening up a faucet and emptying out any water from there from the hot side to make sure that there's no water within this unit. Once we cut the supply and we know it's emptied out, we can proceed by using our Phillips head screwdriver and removing the 4 screws holding this faceplate in. So I like to leave them in. I think it's nice to just leave them there. They hold in place fairly well, and you do not want to lose these. So if you're worried about it, go ahead and place them in your pocket or somewhere secure so we do not lose these. Now, once we've done this, water will likely start to leak lightly here at this point, and you want to put your rag under it. Now, a second thing might occur. When you take this off, a O-ring is inside here that might jump out, so make sure you're ready to catch it. As you can see, mine is ready to go. All right, you're going to want to just put it right back on, nice and snug there, and I'm just going to set this off to the side. Now, as you can see, our impeller inside is naturally clean. Obviously, this is a test environment, so everything's the way it should be. That's exactly what we want. And you see a spin and it comes out. Spinning freely, that's exactly how you want it to look. You want to make sure it doesn't have any calcium buildup, any lime, or any type of corrosion or damage. If this is melted, this could be due to another issue. So you can reach us at smartparts.us. We're open from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we have a live chat agent through that time frame. If this is melted, make sure you give us a call and shut off the power to the unit immediately. Now, with that being said, if your impeller looks just like this and it's spinning freely and we were having the issue where water was flowing and it was not turning on this control board, then there's a board inside of here that might have just failed and needs to be replaced. We recommend to replace the entire component, not just that singular one. Now, if it was filthy and dirty and you got it all cleaned up, we're going to want to retest it. And in all reality, even if it was clean, we're still going to retest this because maybe disconnecting it and reconnecting it might activate it to start working again. Now, it's not very likely, but it is possible. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and tighten our front cap back on. So I like to do about halfway on each one before we fully tighten all the way. That's just the way I learned it. I think it's a good way to make sure you don't over tighten one side and to make sure it's evenly sealed up. So make sure again you don't over tighten because this is plastic and you could crack it. All right, and last one here. Now once you're nice, tight, and snug, what we're going to want to do at this point is activate the water flow before you turn on your breaker. So we're going to activate water flow back to the unit, leave that faucet open for hot water, then we could turn on our breaker. At this point, we're going to want to re-diagnose to see if the impeller is spinning and sending the correct signal to the board. Now, if the water flow is activating your board and the LED display is illuminating and staying on, it looks like we've corrected your issue and the flow sensor should be activated and working at that point if that's the case. Now, if it's not the case and it is not turning on the LED display and the LED display is not illuminated while water is flowing, then simply we need to replace the flow sensor assembly on your unit. Once again, in the description down below, I'm going to have links to all of the parts. So we'll have our flow sensor assembly, the medium large, and we'll also have the other model which I showed you previously, which is the LS, and that'll also be in a link down below. Once again, if you're having any issues or any concerns, always feel free to reach out to our website, smartparts.us. Again, we're open from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we have a live chat agent through that time frame throughout the entire day. All right? Hopefully this corrected your issue. Thank you, and have a great one.
If you enjoyed today's troubleshooting video, like and subscribe, and visit us at smartparts.us for any of your tankless water heater needs.